guys who do what I do for a living in the world. And then to be able to do it for the team I grew up following is really unlikely. It wasn't anything I strove for. It just, I came to play-by-play through television news and ended up getting involved with the Twins in 1983. And as you said, I did Big Ten and Gopher basketball for about 20 years, football. I've done hockey. I actually did play-by-play of some North Star games. It seems a long, long time ago. But it's never really mattered to me whether I've done a baseball game with 55,000 people in the Metrodome or a gymnastics meet with 75 people in the arena. I've really enjoyed the competition and knowing that the gymnasts work just as hard, if not harder, than the multi-million-dollar-a-year ball players that I get to cover on the major league level. So I just love competition, whether it's college tennis, I've done that, college wrestling. I did high school basketball tournaments for many years. I've just really enjoyed watching competition, and it might be in part because I wasn't a very good athlete myself.
Well, going off, you mentioned that you announced North Stars games back in the day. Do you ever witness any crazy fights or any crazy things on the ice?
Most of my duties with the North Stars for this outfit that I started with called Spectrum Sports, I was an intermission host. But for whatever reason, I was in the booth as I hope, a third man in the booth. And back then, the North Stars had a tremendous rivalry with the Chicago Blackhawks. They were in North Division rivals and all that. And there was a night at the Met Center where I think I called it on the air. It was like prom night at the Met Center because everywhere you looked on the ice, there were two guys paired up trying to beat the crap out of each other all over the ice. And that was a memorable ball game, and I think it still lives on YouTube someplace.
Yeah. You see like all those old highlights, though, of just hockey in general back in the 70s and 80s and hearing about that rivalry with the Blackhawks, seeing guys like Neil Broughton and stuff, just how crazy they got compared to today. People think hockey is violent today. You have to look up videos from like the 70s and 80s.
Well, and, back in the 70s, they didn't wear masks or helmets.
Yep.
And from a play-by-play guy's standpoint, it was much easier to, identify players as they're swirling around the ice because you could see their faces and their heads. Well, now, of course, for good reason, they're all helmeted and they've got masks on, and it's a little bit more difficult. I wasn't a very good hockey play-by-play guy, but I sure enjoyed it.
Yeah, definitely.
Dick, who was, I guess other than Bert, who was the most entertaining person to ever announce with? And I guess this can go across all the different sports you just talked about, but.
Yeah, well, you've got to understand someone my vintage, as I said, I remember when the Twins moved here in 1961. And so my second year of doing this in 1984, they told me I would be working with Harmon Killebrew. Now that was, like Babe Ruth to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Him. And I've been able to have in the booth with me so many of the guys that I grew up following as a kid. I worked for many years with Jim Cott. Well, he was a fixture in the Twins rotation when they came here in the early 60s. Paul Molitor has been in the booth. He's become a friend, but I always considered him to be one of the more cerebral ball players I ever watched. We've had Rod Carew in the booth for a while. So I've had so many different ones, and I tell people that if you had all those guys in their prime, Torrey Hunter, Jack Morris, Bert Blyleven, if you had those players in their prime, you could probably run away with a World Series championship. So I've really been lucky to be working with so many great ball players.
Well, I know recently in the last couple of years, I know Justin Morneau's been getting a lot of time on the air, and he's been really entertaining to listen to. I must say, he was an excellent baseball player, and to see him come back and still be involved with the Twins, that's been a pleasure listening to him.
Yeah, I've been texting him, in fact, this morning about the hopes that we're going to have a season and all that. And Justin probably took to this broadcasting business certainly quicker than anyone expected, but I think quicker than just about anybody I've worked with. It was apparent from the outset that he paid attention while he was playing. And because of that, he can offer insight into relay plays, base running, whatever. He was a very cerebral player in his playing days, obviously a very good one. He won a batting title and an American League MVP award as well. So he's really taken to it well, and the reaction I've gotten from Twins fans is they really enjoy his commentary.
Yeah, well, it's always good to get guys, who have been down on the field to kind of give you the strategy, and kind of give you that inside look at what might be going on and stuff that we don't understand quite as fans, that because there's so much strategy behind the scenes that.
Well, and I know I still, when they're out there, I watch a lot of sports on TV, but I've learned so much with the people that I've been privileged to work with, and I'll give you guys one of the best examples. Mm-hmm. 20 years I did Gopher and Big Ten basketball, and including the year that the Gophers ended up winning their tainted Big Ten title. But my analyst for most of those times was a former Minnesota coach, Jim Dutcher, who still remains a very good friend of mine. And Jim was the anti-Dick Vitale, if you will, in terms of basketball analysts. He simply told you what he was seeing on the court and what could be expected. The case in point, in a very, slow, unexcitable voice, Jim would say things like, well, they're in a 1-3-1 zone defense right now. That should open up a jump shot from the corner eventually. Mm-hmm. And would, 2 or 3 passes later, here's somebody in a corner taking a jump shot and say, well, isn't that the essence of what we all want from sports analysts? Yep. Coaches are great at it. Catchers are great at it in baseball because they see the whole field while they're playing. Yep. And I just thought, well, that's brilliant. That's why you have an analyst in the booth. Tom Kelly, when he did games years ago, first game he did, he said in the first inning, well, this guy's 1-6 to the plate. We should be able to steal on him. And I looked, and here he'd brought his stopwatch to the booth. He had his stopwatch with him, when he was managing, because he wanted to the pitcher. And I thought, well, now of course, that makes perfect sense. Time the pitcher and tell the viewers whether there's a chance that Denard Span can steal a base here.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's just good to know that kind of stuff for sure.
Well, yeah, definitely bringing that color to. That's why they're called the color guy. Essentially, they're bringing color to a lot that can be just black and white to the viewers, and bringing a lot more of that entertainment to it. And it's huge. That's huge for sports and especially baseball when things can be slow. To bring those extra facts like that, that's huge.
Well, and then we're all anxious to get started this year and wondering what the play-by-play guy is going to do with a game and no fans in the stands, what the analyst is going to do. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, assuming we do get started here in the next couple months.
Well, yeah, and you go into kind of the challenges, especially the players face. Like we were talking to Casey O'Brien, Gopher football player, and Robbie Stucker, Gopher defenseman for hockey. And we were just talking about how weird it would be to play without fans because there's a certain atmosphere that kind of gets your adrenaline going, to make some of those crazy moments we see in sports. But if it's crickets, it could be just a totally different style of play that we see out of pretty much any sport, really.
The one good thing about this for me is, assuming we get games played with no fans in the stands, I don't think we'll have bat flips anymore because that's all done to cause a reaction from the fans. Well, if there are no fans there, a guy's going to hit a home run, and instead of flipping his bat, he's probably just going to go around the bases, and somewhere between first and home plate and first base, you'll be able to hear the ball rattling around the seats in the outfield.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, you definitely hear some unique sounds you might not hear when there's fans in the stadium. It'd definitely be weird hearing just the crack of the bat, a home run, just emptiness, from no fans whatsoever.
And then it's up to the guys on the bench and the only people that are allowed to be in the crowd to make enough noise. So maybe it just might be on TV to hear just the faintest scream or a clap,
Well, it's interesting. A little over 5 years ago, they had a game with no fans in Baltimore because they had some civic unrest there. And I've talked to the players who played in the game. I've talked to the broadcasters who broadcast the game. And the one thing they all said is it was really strange because the players on the field could hear what was being said up in the broadcast booth.
Oh, really?
And so, now if you're in my position and we have this as a reality for some extended period of time, it will change what I do, what I say, or how I say it, because I do not want to be a distraction to Mitch Garver once he steps in the batter's box, right?
Yeah,
he's in his hands. He doesn't need to hear in the background me talking about how he's, won for the last 15 or something like that. So I don't know what the remedy is going to be. It might be, I've never done a game with the windows closed. I don't care how hot or cold it is. I've always had the windows open, right? But it might be that when it comes to that, I'll have to either shut the window so I can talk and not be heard on the field, or really limit what it is I say, and maybe from the time the batter gets into the batter's box, I don't say anything at all. We'll have to wait.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you don't want to get into like a guy Twitter war or something with a player, like tweeting at you for something you said.
Well, but in that game in Baltimore a little over 5 years ago, the pitchers said that they could hear what was being said. And you guys have been to ballparks. You know that the press box is not real close to the field. Mm-hmm. That's how, acoustically, what we're going to have, apparently, if we get a season started. There won't be fans there. There won't be organ music. There won't be, well, there might be organ music, but once, the play is going to start, the pitcher's ready to pitch, it's going to be very, very quiet.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be a part of the game in that way.
Yeah. You don't want to affect the players in any way.
Well, Dick, before we wrap this up, we got to give you our signature bit here at 10,000 Takes. It's called Rapid Fire. We're going to put a minute on the clock, and we're going to ask you some fun kind of would you rather, yes or no type questions. So you ready to go?
This isn't going to get me in trouble at home here, is it?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right.
All right. Would you rather spend the rest of your life blind or in an Olive Garden?
In an Olive Garden.
Olive Garden, good answer. If you were given an all-expenses-paid trip to Cleveland, would you take it?
Yes, I've been doing that for more than 30 years. Yes.
I was going to say you have experience. Yeah. There you go. Is the official term hot dish or casserole?
Hot dish.
If a movie was made about your life, who would play you?
Oh, Brad Pitt.
Okay. Yeah.
I actually asked, we did one of these things about this Game 5 in 2002, and I asked LaTroy Hawkins and Torrey Hunter that, and I'll encourage viewers to watch that episode to see what they said. I don't know. How about this? I'll play that way I'd be able to memorize the lines.
Well, and plus you have a unique voice. I don't know if someone's going to be able to match that, so fair enough.
No.
Would you rather have your head the size of a tennis ball or a watermelon?
Watermelon.
Minneapolis or St. Paul?
Ooh, I'm not going to answer that one. Ooh. I got friends in both cities. I live out in the suburbs.
Okay, so, yeah, fair enough. In self-defense, how many fifth graders could you take on at one time?
I've had two of them that I've helped raise, and I've had my hands full with each one of them. So we'll just go one at a time.
Okay, yep. Would you rather always wear a shirt that's kind of itchy or always wear a pair of shoes with a small pebble in them?
The shirt that's itchy, because that would mean it would be a wool, and it at least would keep me warm in the wintertime.
Okay.
Smart.
Yeah. What's more realistic, ghosts or aliens?
Aliens. Based on what the CIA released the other day of the spaceship, 3 different clips of a video they showed, so I'll go with aliens.
Yeah, the Pentagon, yep.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. You have one sport to watch for the rest of your life, and I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you anyways. What is it?
Baseball. They should play it year-round. I hate the off-seasons. They get longer every year.
Yeah, there are people that are advocating for shorter seasons, so let's just get longer ones.
Yeah,
let's play. We can't do it up here, at least outdoors, but, and that's one thing that I think we'll find here in the next few weeks as other sports resume. The notion of, sports seasons is going to change as well. That we may have a World Series in December. We may have the hockey playoffs in September. I mean, it's going to be different this year.
I've heard a rumor of college football in the spring, but this whole thing could totally change the way we watch sports seasonally. That's what's so amazing about it. But
that's crazy.
Dick, it looks like we're at time, so we'd like to thank you so much for joining us. And just to remind the viewers out there, go to www.10000takesmn.com/SotaStream, click the donate button. All the money is going to the Groveland Emergency Food Bank in Minneapolis to help those, who need it most. So just encourage anyone who's able to donate to a great cause. And Dick, we hope to see you soon on the air. We hope that sports, come back and we can kind of get as close as back to normal as we can. So
thanks for the time, guys. Maybe we'll see you at Target Field someday soon.
Oh, you bet we will. All right. Have a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too.